personal Twitch.
Right now?
Yeah, right now. That a Bud Heavy? You drinking Bud Heavies?
No, it's a Sam Adams cherry wheat. Wait,
okay. Damn.
It's my favorite beer.
Yeah, I got I got I like the Paradise Park. I think it's
seasonal.
Not so bad. Huh?
I said it's seasonal. Like you can't really get it.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's a decent beer.
True story. We have a Sam Adams brewery. There's as you know, I used to live in Cincinnati, and there's a Sam Adams brewery in Cincinnati, and they don't. So like, I actually did the thing where I like emailed like the parent company, and I was like, hey, where can I get cherry wheat? Because there's no cherry wheat sold around me. And they actually like sent me a hat, and they did a map of like all the they sent me a physical like Rand McNally map of like Cincinnati, and then just circled all the convenience stores that had it. There was like 3, like we found like 3 in your area that we know carry it, and they're like fine. Or it's like, and they said or we don't have a retail store, but if you ask for like Jim Bob at the brewery, we'll just let you buy like cases. Nice. I was like, what? I was like, thank you so much.
Look, that's the hookup right there.
I know, right? Like, what a weird little company. But anyway, so I was watching. I don't know how I got thinking about it, like either legal weed or cops or something. There's a guy we should try to get for our podcast because he still does the same thing. Mm-hmm. I used to watch him. I'm not even a weed guy, but he used to watch. I watched him like 10 years ago when I used to watch Alex Jones, and he was like a guest on Alex Jones's show. And his name's Barry Cooper. He's a narcotics agent in, I want to say, Dallas-Fort Worth. And then he quit being a narcotics agent and just became the guy who's just like, he has like a real deep, he talks like a kindergarten teacher. And he's just like, I'm going to show y'all how not what the police are looking for. And he came up with a video series called Never Get Busted Again, where it just shows you in like explicit detail, like what the police are looking for. He's like, I'm going to show you how to do safe drug deals where you never get caught. He's like, I'm going to show you. Yeah, it was just like a full video series that was like sold in head shops, and people uploaded them on YouTube. It is so good. He's like, and I think we should try to, because he's still out. He's still doing it. He got busted. He got like arrested and had to go to prison for something real dumb because obviously all the cops hated him. So they just like fucked with him. But he's still doing the same shit. Like, he should definitely, even if it's not like weed related, like he has really good, like, this is why you don't talk to the police. It's like, you don't open your door for the police. You tell them through the window, if they have a warrant, we'll go ahead and kick in the door. I don't need to open it. I was like, hell yeah. I'll send you a bunch of stuff on them. We should try to do like some
I mean, if you can book them, go for it.
I was like, Robert, you're kind of like clipping a bit.
Probably because the gain's too high. Yeah, I see it's clipping right now.
Let me monitor with my headphones.
There's just no reason it should be. I turned the master up. I'm not touching the red. I'm like in the yellow. I'm in the orange. But I can see the clip. I can see like the red thing for clipping.
I don't know, man.
It's like compensating as soon as I start talking. It's still doing it, isn't it?
No, it sounds fine to me.
No?
Looking at it on, oops, turn my video off.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4. That should be.
Sounds better to me.
Okay, cool. Whatever you did.
Let me try to use the pop filter too. That might.
Whatever you did, don't fuck
pop filter and get away from the mic. I don't think I need to be as close to this mic as I think I do. I think this mic like
deep throat that motherfucker.
I don't think this mic picks up a lot. Mm-hmm. I always wonder why you sound so good, and I forget you have like a $400 mic.
No, it's only like 100. We should get like these things pretty standard. Actually, we can make that happen. We got to upgrade Scott's mic the most. Like a condenser mic, and it picks up everything.
What is he using?
He's using my old Yeti.
Yetis are good, but I mean,
it picks up the entire room.
Yeah, that's the thing. And he's got it not set on shotgun, right? He's got it set on.
It doesn't have a shotgun setting. It's got cardioid.
Is it blue? Is it the Snowball?
No, it's the Yeti.
It's the Yeti. All right, I don't know. I mean, even those, but the thing is, like those $20 Behringer mics we have are good. They're just
yeah, he just doesn't have an interface.
Yeah, an interface for it. It's a bitch.
We'd have to get them we'd have to probably spend some of our money to make that happen. And I'm not sure we're ready for that.
Well, I'm trying to wait for this AMC to blow up.
Let's do it. Let's
Dip
go
into
to the
that.
moon, baby. Well, let's get started.
Yeah, sure.
And we can sort of bring everybody in.
Already tired.
Oh man, I was napping right before this episode, so let's try not to curse this time, just so I don't have to go back and edit anything.
Oh, this is Tuesday. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Tuesday.
I'm gonna bring up some Path of Exile.
Cool. Good morning, comrades. You are listening to WHIVLP New Orleans 102.3. This is Good Morning Comrade radio version. What is going on? We have Jeff and Robert and Erin on the show. What's up, folks?
Hello. Hi. I was waiting for Erin because I didn't want to talk over her. Is Erin actually there?
Yeah, she's here. Just trust us, folks. But anyway.
Wait, what? I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I've been here the whole time.
Well, you were called by name, and then
I said hello.
No, you said
and nobody heard you.
This feels like gaslighting.
Typical men.
Yeah, you guys are canceled.
The woke mob is coming for Good Morning Comrade now.
Yeah, everybody, if you hear this, please send mean tweets their way because they just gaslighted me live on Twitch. No, I think it probably is what happened is that I'm being a little bit of an a-hole and I was online shopping while we're doing this. And I think I probably need to be in this app the whole time.
Yeah,
for it to record my audio.
Don't feel bad about doing other things. I'm literally playing video games. Wow.
Yeah, that feels Twitch appropriate though. I don't know.
It's like ADHD appropriate. I do it pretty much every time. Especially with a game like this, I don't have to think too much. Do you want me to do I know we're actually recording live, but I can. Let's don't worry about it. I was gonna say I can share screen, but don't worry about it.
Yeah, if you guys are listening on the radio, you're truly missing out.
Let's start over for the radio. How about that?
Okay.
I guess so. We could.
Good morning, comrade. You're listening to WHIVLP New Orleans 102.3. This is Good Morning Comrade. We have Jeff and Robert and Erin on the show. What's going on, folks?
Hey, friends. How are ya?
Hey.
Just made dinner for my wife. It was
you're the dinner.
This is lies. No, he did not make me dinner tonight.
Yes, I did.
I made my own dinner tonight.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
Wow.
We're still gaslighting.
More
okay.
gaslighting happening live on the radio from somebody. Somebody's gaslighting somebody, and I don't know who it is.
It's Robert.
All lies.
No, this is Robert normally makes my dinner because when left to my own devices, I just will not eat. Because that's what we're working with here in the pandemic. But I did actually. Yeah, I did actually make my own sandwich tonight. So
you did.
It was really good.
It's true.
But he did offer to make me dinner in his defense. So.
Well, there you go. That's what really matters. Is the offer.
Yeah. So anyone who's listening thinking that I'm a trad wife, just know that I refuse to cook or do dishes.
You don't need to me. I will tell you are not.
No, I am. I know I have a voice that would make you think that I'm a trad wife, but I am pretty much the opposite of that.
Jeff, I did a curse, so.
Oh, great. Okay, cool.
Get that time.
Should have noted that. Appreciate it.
Down. Sorry, buddy. I won't do it.
How about we not do that?
Usually I'm really good at them. I think it's the Twitch thing that screws me up because I'm like, Twitch is a lawless land where anything goes.
As long as you don't call somebody a simp or something like that.
True. But she is not a trad wife at all, not even in the slightest.
So I know, Robert, you were talking about stonks again. What's going on with the stonks? Are they going to the moon? Are we going
We holding. AMC is up 28% today.
Sorry, so what does that mean?
So it could mean, I try not to bore everybody with the stocks. It means the stock is going up. GameStop actually had a dip today. It went down and then it kind of rebounded, but not to it closed lower than it opened today. Where here's the thing about AMC, it's an actual real stock. It's bounding up normally how a stock would go up. And it's just a good COVID relief play. This is not financial advice. But in my opinion, it's just a good hey, it was COVID. Nobody could go to the movies. Now it's theaters are reopening, so now the stock's going back up. People like the stock. They're holding. They're holding on to it. It's going up nicely. Hedge funds hate it. We're still making hedge funds mad. So if you want to make a hedge fund mad, like hold one of those stocks that they're shorting. That's the best I can tell you. That's the best I can tell you, and not financial advice, because you should. I'm not qualified to do that. You should do whatever you want with your own money, including burning it or spending it on anything you want. I forgot this is not the Thursday show where I could say something hot take. So
I told my dad that I was pulling all my money out of my 401k to buy GameStop, and he got very concerned, even though I was just joking. But now he's texting me because he wants to check my investment portfolio to make sure I'm maximizing my potential profit. So, thanks, Dad. I'll send that to you when I remember, which will be sometime soon.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So that has been your Good Morning Comrade stock minute. Of course, it's not financial advice, but yeah. So what else is going on? What are y'all keeping up with in the news and stuff like that? Y'all been seeing anything?
So I have a rant prepared about Cuomo. So that's fun.
Actually, really ready.
All right.
For this.
So let's set this up. Andrew Cuomo is the governor of New York City, and he's been
the governor of New York City. Yes,
of New York State. I beg your pardon. And he's been going through some things. He's been having a hard time. Are you gonna? Okay, this is important. Are you about to do anti-Italian discrimination in your rant? Because if that's the truth, if that's what's happening, I'm not going to stand for it.
I love the Italians. I truly do.
That's what they all say.
I do have to say, there are some aspects of Italian culture that just really don't blend well with the rest of the United States. And I'm just, if that makes me a bigot, then so be it.
Go on.
No, I love the Italians. I feel like they became white around the same time as the Irish did. So like they're like comrades in that. And with St. Patrick's Day coming up, I do want everybody to know that Erin does mean Ireland in Irish. And growing up was a nightmare because Erin go bra means Ireland forever, but it just sounds like Erin needs to go buy a bra, which was like a very fun thing for me in middle school. So that's, so basically what I'm saying is that I empathize and sympathize with Italians. We have been oppressed for too long. But moving on. We're not doing an anti-Italian thing right now. We are doing an anti-Andrew Cuomo. We're also doing a little bit of an anti whatever his brother's name is.
Chris Cuomo. And Jeff can back me up on this. Like, I think we talked a little bit about this, Erin, in the house. Is that I actually was like, Jeff, I don't want to talk about Andrew Cuomo because I feel like my brain is so broken and I have nothing but bad takes left, and I know they're bad. So it's like I really wish we had Erin or pretty much any other woman to talk about this.
So Andrew Cuomo, just to be clear, has been in the run up to this. He was sort of caught essentially covering up the number of deaths that have been taking place in nursing homes in New York, in the state of New York, rather, which is a direct result of him cutting public funds to hospitals, which meant that more people had to go to nursing homes, and when COVID hit, people that would normally be in hospitals ended up going to those nursing homes, and there was just huge rashes of deaths, and there were cover-ups of the numbers of death. That's one thing, and then I think it's about 6 or 7 women now have stepped forward accusing Andrew Cuomo of sexual harassment and assault. So Erin, what do you think?
So, I mean, I have a lot of feelings. I have a lot of feelings about this situation. First of all, when I first read about the sexual harassment allegations, I honestly thought that was like a well-known thing. And I don't know if that's just me being a little stereotypical about gruff men in power, but I was like, yeah, of course he sexually harassed someone. Like, what do you mean? Yeah, have you heard him talk? Like, of course he has, which is maybe not the best take, but I don't. A while ago, we talked about Biden and just how wildly triggering I found the whole Biden sexual assault accusation to be, just not like because of the accusation itself, but because of how Democrats reacted to it. And I am having it's like deja vu with this Cuomo situation. I'm like losing my mind. It was a rough week work-wise last week, just like, it was. And as like, I guess a little breather, I was like going on Twitter and just picking fights with middle-aged women with like blue wave emojis in their bios, just to like release a little stress. But it's so frustrating to hear people who will, proudly wear their pink pea hat all like everywhere and talk about all the Trump accusers, start really caring about due process all of a sudden. And, we really got to hear him out. And, well, I just don't understand when it became a problem for someone to compliment the way you look. Or, okay, so he kissed your hand. Like, did you die? I'm like, okay, all right, everybody. Love the takes.
That reminds me of like one particular celeb who comes to mind for this, which was Alyssa Milano, right? She was the one.
We stan Alyssa Milano on this podcast.
Do we?
Worse?
No, we don't. No. We absolutely do not.
No.
Because she was like one of the ones that were like kind of first and foremost, like out of the gate with like I support the women that have come forward against like Harvey Weinstein and Me Too and all these other things, which is like, that's a decent position to take, obviously. But then suddenly when it came around on Biden specifically, she was like, well, we have to let's slow down here and check out all the facts. You know what I mean? And that's just like one of these kind of like double hypocrisy. This has been thrown around a lot, and I think it actually is applicable, like blue MAGA.
Yeah, absolutely. I've just been finding the whole thing very frustrating, and it's not frustrating because I feel like every man who's accused of sexual assault needs to go to jail, or that I don't believe in due process, or all of the things that I'm being accused of by wanting Andrew Cuomo to step down. It's more that I hate the hypocrisy of the Democrats, and it's such a frustrating thing for me because there's just no moral consistency, and it's just and it's also that's very frustrating. But then it's also, I think, really, really telling of this a little bit of a generational divide between like second wave feminism and then third wave feminism. And for those who don't know, second wave feminism would be like the burn your bras feminism of the 1960s up until I would say probably around like the late 2010s onward. And third wave feminism is more of a inclusive, intersectional type of feminism. And I think, a lot, and I do give props because a lot of the women obviously second wave feminists, like they broke a lot of barriers. They broke a lot of glass ceilings. Like a lot of, my success in the workplace couldn't have come without the women who came before me. However, there is this idea that in order to function within kind of the corporate world or the political world or any of these like quote unquote like boys towns, you have to just shake things off and you have to just accept, toxic masculinity in the workplace. And it's like, okay, yeah, no one's going to die because your boss kisses your hand. But like, in what world is that an acceptable thing to have happen?
It's sort of like it establishes and perpetuates like a power dynamic that's inappropriate for the workplace. It's sort of like bringing the social inequality and putting it in the sort of situation where like essentially your job is a part of that and wrapped up in that framework. And like again, like that as a initial idea, like that shouldn't be the case is fine. But then when you get down to the idea of like it's sort of like the logical conclusion ends up becoming like the Sheryl Sandberg like lady boss sort of outcome, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, you just have to tough it out. Like, you have to tough out. And number one, it's this idea that, yes, like you have to accept being treated poorly in your workplace, and whether that's like because of your gender or any other reason. But then it's also assuming that people in power are going to be bullies, essentially. And I just don't feel comfortable accepting either of those things. And there's a really, really great, because so with Andrew Cuomo.
Y'all still there?
I think Erin fell into
Erin dropped.
Great. Erin,
I can keep it.
No, I'm here. I wasn't online shopping this time. I was trying to look up a quote to read to you. So I'm going to try and figure out how to do that without dropping out. But essentially, one of the things that is very frustrating about this situation is that, yes, okay, on their face value, these 8, I believe actually one of the most recent accusations was that a woman was groped by him in the workplace. But a lot of the other accusations are a little bit more minor in that he made a comment that made me feel uncomfortable, or, like he did kiss my hand or something to that. It's like, yeah, nothing that you would go to jail for.
It also shouldn't happen, obviously.
But it definitely shouldn't happen. And there was this really great article, which is where I was trying to find the quote from, in New York Mag. I believe it was late last week. And it was essentially on how Andrew Cuomo's entire administration was just toxic and cruel and bullying. And the way that manifested a lot of the times towards young women was that sexual harassment. But it was, women were specifically hired not because of their skill set or their experience. They were hired because Andrew Cuomo liked the way they looked. There was a quotes from a speechwriter who was African American, and she was the only African American speechwriter on staff. And they had a huge press release when she was hired, and she was in the background when Andrew Cuomo had his press conferences. But she's quoted in this article saying that they never used any of her speeches. They never used one of her speeches. And so it was very clear to her why she was hired, and it was not her skill set, and it was not anything that she brought to the table other than identity. And, there was lots of quotes from a lot of different people. And I just think this is such an interesting conversation and a really important conversation to have, because it does, yes, the sexual harassment is part of it. But when you have that kind of low level, if you call it that, sexual harassment, it usually means that there's dysfunction on another level there. And I really wish that we could look at it all in together, as opposed to just taking these individual accusations, which again are not that serious. They are not the same as, Tara Reid accusing Joe Biden of penetrating her in the hallway against her will. This is not what this is. These are not those kind of accusations, but I do think they're worth talking about. And I do think it's infuriating that so many people who claim to be feminists and who claim to be on the side of women are dismissing them.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, to play devil's advocate, and I think the thing that they don't want to say, which is how they feel, is that they feel like, well, if we just go after these guys, the Republicans have no rules, they have no boundaries, they'll let anything slide. A Roy Moore, it doesn't matter, a Donald Trump, they'll let anything go. So if we don't, at least somewhat do the same on the Democrat side, the centrist side, then they'll just get, it's a losing game, because we'll keep canceling people and then they'll keep replacing them with Republicans. And that is honestly, as cynical as I am, that's why I was avoiding talking about this. That on its face, that's a really compelling argument, until I think about how this is the only thing where the Democrats and centrists want to this is one of the few things where they want to plant their flag and make a line in the sand and be no, we must defend Joe Biden. No, we must defend Cuomo. Which in every other thing, they're well, you're just a child and don't know how government works, and that's why we have to capitulate to the Republican Party day in and day out and compromise with them, even though they'll never compromise with us. So it's not a good argument once you start actually thinking about the way Democrats govern.
Yeah, that, and then also when you're thinking about the Andrew Cuomo situation in general, it makes zero sense. He was not that good at governing.
Exactly.
You know, he talked a really big COVID game, but New York had some of the worst numbers, if not the worst numbers in the country. He did not do a good job with COVID, you know, even outside of the nursing home deaths. A lot of the progressive policies that he championed and that he ran on and that everyone kind of credits to his name, he was the one who specifically stalled on a lot of them. They could have been done a lot earlier. He was the king of, you know, figuring out when it was going to be politically advantageous for him to do something, and he would not do it a day sooner. I mean, I don't know if y'all remember like a couple of years ago, they had hired some really, really world-renowned public transit expert genius person, and he quit because to revitalize the MTA, which, you know, for anybody who is unaware, the MTA is the public transit system in New York, and it is literally falling apart. You know, it's not functional.
That's so crazy.
It's New Yorkers are very upset about it. And it's for such a huge city, it's unacceptable to just not have a functional.
It's so wild because it's not. To me, it's even more than that because it's like the state of the empire. Because if the sewers in Rome don't work, then how is the sewers in the rest of the empire doesn't work? If the subway in New York is not working correctly, we got some problems, folks. Like that is like the canary in the coal mine. Like,
well, so it's a huge problem, and they had, you know, touted how amazing this fix was going to be, and the guy quit after, I want to say, like less than a year, because he was like, I can't work under Cuomo. Like, he is actively sabotaging my ability to do my job. And that really didn't get a ton of press, but it was important. And so the MTA to this day is still terrible. And so it's such a frustrating thing because I don't understand why Andrew Cuomo has gotten, it's because he's like the Democrats' version of Trump. Like, he is brash and he's brusque and he's, you know, not afraid to break a few eggs trying to get what he wants, but he's masking
a rich famous dad.
yeah. And you know, he had the, try not to curse, the GD nerve to get on a press conference the other day and say that he was the reason he was being targeted is because he's a political outsider and people don't like that. And I was like, I'm sorry, does your brother not work not a political commentator for CNN? Was your dad not Mario Cuomo? Like, okay, all right. I'm getting real heated, but
the guy's like Fredo, and I'm sorry, Erin, the nerd out, but even Erin knows, like, because I've tortured her with these things. The guy at best is like Fredo Corleone. Like, he's inherited, like, he's a low level mafia boss. It's like inherited this empire that he can't keep running. Yeah, he is garbage.
And it's like, when we go back to this blue MAGA, like how many people have, you know, made fun of QAnon and made fun of the people who have these like insane government conspiracy theories? Like, I have, for sure. But then you read, you know, that Brooklyn Dad Defiant, who it turns out is a paid Democratic operative, but that's a story for another time. He tweeted how it was suspicious that these accusations were coming out now, that you know, it might be the New York State who like prosecutes Trump, as if Cuomo was to step down, there would be somehow a Republican coming in. I'm like, no, you know, whatever the what are they called, vice presidents in states? I'm an idiot.
Lieutenant governor.
Lieutenant governor. Yeah, the lieutenant governor is a Democrat. Yeah. Like, when was the last time New York had a Republican governor? It's like extremely frustrating. The whole thing has just been like, I had to take a step back. So I was like, is this healthy for me to be like engaging with? And the answer was definitely no. But so the quote I was trying to find before when I dropped out, I have it here. And I really want to read it because, again, I do think the narrative around this is not ideal, and a lot just simply because the accusations are not the most serious. They don't rise to a Weinstein level. They don't rise to a Trump level. But they really do speak to a much deeper, darker dysfunction in the Cuomo administration in general. And this is from that New York Mag article from a few days ago. Cuomo's treatment of some of the young women who worked for and around him demonstrated a kind of diminishment and tokenization that may take a sexualized form and may involve objectification and flirtation, but which didn't always entail explicitly sexualized contact or connection. In fact, Cuomo may be a textbook example of how sexual harassment, like sexual assault, isn't about sex at all. It's about power. In Cuomo's case, it was one manifestation of his obsession with performing dominance, emphasizing the gulf of authority between the governor and those around him, making himself feel big and conveying to others that they were small. Like, I think that's such a telling quote, and that's so true. And that's the kind of thing we need to be thinking about when we're talking about these men in power. Because I do understand if, you are not somebody who gives a lot of thought to like power dynamics in these kinds of situations, it might seem silly that people are calling for a governor to step down from his job because he told a woman she looked nice in her dress, or he kissed someone on the hand. Like that, it does seem silly, but when you look at it through that lens of power and domination and bullying, and what does he actually think about the people who work for him, and how does that translate into what does he think about his constituents? What does he think about progressive ideals? What does he think about people in New York? What does he think about people in upstate New York?
Well, we know he definitely has contempt for progressive ideals because he's moved heaven and earth to not be held accountable to anything progressive. He was part of constructing an entire sort of centrist caucus of the New York State Democratic Party that would essentially prevent him from having to do anything that would help anybody. It would essentially allow him to govern as a conservative specifically.
Yeah, and he was talking such a big game about all of his COVID assistance while he was quietly cutting Medicaid.
He wrote a book about it.
It's so deeply frustrating, and it's it kind of just shows just how far uphill the battle is to get progressive ideals into the mainstream. Because if you just have someone who talks a big talk and basically will just steamroller everyone around him, like people think that he's a progressive. Like, go on Twitter right now and you're going to have a bunch of blue MAGA people who knows how representative of the electorate they actually are, but who will say like, oh, Cuomo is a progressive. Why are you going after progressives? How can you say that you have progressive ideals and then go after one of our biggest progressive champions? And it's like, he's not one of our biggest progressive champions. He never has been. He never will be. It's a little disheartening. I'm not gonna lie about it.
You are listening to WHIV-LP New Orleans 102.3. This is Good Morning Comrade. We have Jeff, Robert, and Erin on the show. We're talking about Andrew Cuomo and his really horrible behavior in multiple ways as governor. He sort of like is kind of like a part of this, machine that exists, I guess, in New York, and plus his home like individual behavior is absolutely unacceptable. But like one of the things that's kind of come out in this whole thing has been essentially most of the specifically like the congressional people, like both of the senators, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and most of the other House of Representatives, U.S. Congress representatives have basically said it's time for Cuomo to step down. So the writing is kind of like on the wall in that sense.
Oh yeah.
But when it came to like when I asked about this, Joe Biden kind of is in an awkward position.
Is it because he raped an aide?
Yeah.
Is that why? Is that weird for him?
And his response when it was asked about this was essentially like, "Oh, we should wait until the investigation comes back because there's going to be an investigation into this, of course."
Yeah, they started impeachment proceedings against him, both for the sexual harassment and also for the nursing home stuff. But generally, Chuck Schumer has called for his resignation, which means that there's more going to come out. Like, this is the tip of the iceberg. If Chuck Schumer came out, Chuck Schumer, honestly, I love a spicy Chuck Schumer.
Did you? See
I'm kind of here for a spicy Chuck.
I mean, I don't expect him to stick to it. Did you see the whole thing where he's like, we don't need Republicans for anything? Like, we'd like to have them work with us, but we have 50+1, so we really don't need them. And I was
so basically, suck it.
Did I just? I'm like, does he a listener to Good Morning Comrade? Because
Chuck, come on the show.
Holy God,
we'd love to have you. We love Spicy Chuck.
Look, that Robert Johnson, he might be an idiot, but he makes a lot of sense. We do have the votes. I've done the math. We actually have the votes.
He's trying to edge out that 2021 Sam Cedar primary challenge.
I know. I am not comfortable with the level of narcissism to say that Chuck Schumer has started finally standing up to the Republicans because he listened to our public access radio show. I'm like,
we're
not
public access.
Okay, low frequency. Sorry,
community radio. That is
excuse me.
We are broadcasters.
Wow. Well, Chuck, if you're listening, come on the show.
We got a lot more stuff we can tell you what to do too.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I have a lot of feelings about a lot of things, Chuck.
So,
but honestly,
if bring up a different angle to this, because in the over the weekend, I think it was on Friday, actually, right before the weekend, Cuomo did a press conference where he essentially blamed cancel culture.
That's crazy.
For essentially like the attacks that are coming on him based on his behavior. And I mean, cancel culture is something that has been used by, like, the language of cancel culture is something that was literally the entire theme of the CPAC. This is the Conservative Political Action Conference that just happened a couple of weeks ago, and now we have like a high-profile Democrat from a blue state using the exact same language to essentially try and protect himself. That's a little bit kind of ironic, don't you think?
It's wild. It's it's goofy. Like, it's just like, but it's not though when you think about it, because what are the Democrats like? I hate, it's like a meme, Jesse Ventura, the Republicans and the Republic Crips and the Demobloods, or whatever he would say. That they really do come out of the same playbook. They take the same donor money. Like, why wouldn't they use the same language? Why would newspeak language? Why wouldn't they have the same bad takes?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's weird, but it's not at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
My man watches Fox News too. His brother's on CNN. Why wouldn't he adopt some of that language? It seems to work well for them.
Yeah, my 5-head super mega big brain take away from this is that Cuomo is going to try and run for president in 2024 as a Republican.
Unlike some kind of weird unity party like Lieberman.
That's the hot take. He's running as a Republican in 2024.
I could see it. Be like, we're gonna bring sanity back to the party. I don't think that, but I could. It's not like the craziest thing ever.
I mean, if nothing else, it's funny, haha. I think.
But yeah, he sucks. I don't know how else to put it and say it in so many words, but yeah, if those were our Democrats, we don't need them. At what point, with guys like him and guys like Joe Manchin or Kristen Sinema, and it's like, well, you'd be like, well, we got to support them because the Republican will take their seat. At what point do we say, who cares? A bad senator, a bad governor, it's going to be the same next to whether they have a D or an R by their name. Does it really matter? The whole point of having, of having people who are supposedly supposed to be on our side in positions of power and governance is that they're supposed to be on our side. So if they're proving like they're not, who cares if a Republican takes their seat? I don't.
I mean, yeah, and I don't know. There's sort of like a our side kind of question of it all too. I mean, they Democrats definitely aren't a party that represent the working class by any stretch.
But also, they like you to believe that though. They want you to believe that for sure.
Yeah, they want you to believe it. They never behave as though that's the case because that's not what they are. I just find it sort of kind of funny and interesting that because I mean, here's the thing that kind of constantly is the thing that Democrats specifically rely on is that they know that Republicans are just like literal demons, right? They know this. And they just basically say, well, what are you going to do? Side with the demons? We can be as terrible as you want. Doesn't matter. You're stuck with us. So shut up and do what we tell you. We're going to be awful and horrible and like shoot down the $15 minimum wage. And we're going to make sure that you get $1,400 and not $2,000. And we're going to cut, we're going to cut the unemployment insurance by $100, just $100, just to prove that we can, and we'll still do this in a way that we're like only negotiating with ourselves. Still get 0 Republican votes because that's not really what it's about, is it? And that's a wrap. Too bad. Sad day for you.
Yeah, it's kind of like what's that song that like 90 I can do bad by myself. Like it's like a bad relationship where we're just locked into, It's like at some point we can do bad all by ourselves. Like I don't need a Kristen Sinema skipping down the aisle where she denies poor people relief. Like I don't need that from my quote unquote party that I vote for like on a party line, because there's nothing better. And before you don't at me about no Green Party. Please don't. Because your girl Kristen Sinema was a part of the Green Party, and that's probably the most highest profile Green Party member y'all have produced. And
she was Green Party. I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, she was Green Party like when she was younger. I'm back, everybody. I fell off. Back, gone for a minute. Now I'm back with a jump off. No, Kristen Sinema.
Cancel culture when you left.
About what?
So one of the things about Cuomo, and I wanted to get your sort of take on this. One of the things that Cuomo talked about in a press conference on Friday was that he wouldn't let cancel culture essentially like come for him when which is like really, really kind of interesting. Weird. Because the Republicans just did an entire CPAC that the entire theme of it was cancel culture. Like we're just against cancel culture, and now you have a high-profile Democrat talking about how him assaulting women and people like trying to hold him accountable for that is cancel culture. So you got the same exact message coming from both of these sides.
It's almost as if powerful men getting criticized don't enjoy it. That's so funny and interesting that would be on both parties. Mm-hmm. What a world. What a world. I saw a quote today. It was basically like, when you were talking about like cancel culture, just remember McCarthyism and like people getting actually canceled. And because honestly, people have been talking like a lot of the conversation with Cuomo. People have been bringing up Al Franken and how Al Franken was canceled as if Al Franken didn't resign before there was a congressional investigation. So like made the choice to voluntarily leave his political office. And also this idea that like, and people keep talking about due process as if like we couldn't just, I can choose not to vote for a politician because I don't like the color of their ties. Mm-hmm. Like there is no such thing as due process when it comes to politics. Nobody is entitled to be a politician. Nobody is entitled to be your elected representative. Okay, everybody, I just want to throw that out there. You can just get bad vibes from somebody. You cannot like that they are a Gemini. Okay. And you could choose not to vote for them for that reason. And you don't have to explain yourself to anybody.
I would never vote for a Gemini.
I am a Gemini myself. And like, yes, don't vote for me or anybody else. We are nightmares. Okay. Two-sided. It's not a good situation. But no, so what I'm basically like no, Andrew Cuomo does not deserve due process to be the governor. Okay. Yes, if he was to be impeached, he would deserve due process in that arena. Well, if he was to be criminally charged, which he is being criminally charged for one of these instances, he does deserve due process in that.
Yeah. And you know what the due process is? The entirety of the impeachment proceedings. That's what the due process is.
Yep.
like that's really funny that like you would say that like that there's no due process when there's literally a process by which you would remove this person.
Yeah. But it's like, it is driving me a little nuts. I will tell you. I will. And then, and Robert's bringing up Kristen Cinema because he really wants to try my patience today. So we're just really.
Let's go.
Yeah, but you can't.
Talk about my bisexual queen.
Oh my God.
Oof,
oh my God.
Nobody's queen.
She has truly done the wealthy white woman march to centrism. She started off like save the planet,
dumpster diving anarchist type, right?
Yeah, she was like very much a anti-war, protested pretty. Oh, Geminis are sexy AF. Thank you, Antifa. Thank you. You know what? What is Kristen Cinema?
Antifa's in here. I love her.
Yeah, we love Antifa.
Cool.
Yeah, that is Kristen Cinema. But yeah, I mean, as a white woman who like constantly worries that I'm going to sell out, which I don't actually have to worry about because I didn't end up marrying anyone in the oil industry. So shout out to you, Robert. Because that's usually what happens is like you start off as like an activist and then you get swept off your feet by like a Wall Street banker and or oil exec and or somebody who like runs a sweatshop, and then you like are like, well, I still have progressive values, but there's like a middle ground, everybody. Mm-hmm. It's like, not all oil execs, okay? Yeah, no, I'm in my feelings.
You can be like our Bay and get from The View and just get negged in the marriage.
Oh,
just he negged me so
truly sad.
Freaking your girl. I can't even think of her name right now. I'm sorry. I'm tired.
Meghan McCain.
Thank you.
All right. So one of the things so before we talk about Meghan McCain, Kirsten Sinema is a Cancer. Just so that you want to know.
Yeah, Robert's a Cancer too.
Oh, wow.
She is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They should be like a Gemini or something.
No, because she was born July 12th. Okay. Geminis are June babies, so.
Antifa coming through with Trump as a Gemini. Oh no!
No, feels right. I'm telling you. Okay, like hashtag not all Geminis. Okay. Some of us are really good.
You're saying that you're not in very good company right now, Erin.
Okay, Angelina Jolie is also a Gemini, and she was born on my birthday. And she's a humanitarian, so we're doing great.
You're doing great. But Meghan McCain. So I don't know about you.
About the thing, huh? Okay.
I will say this. She had an epic rant. This is probably old news, but like a couple of weeks ago, she had an epic rant about how Meghan McCain, host of The View, didn't know when she was going to get her vaccination, which is just so funny to me. And I don't know.
I mean, it was extra funny because I was like, girl, your BMI is high enough to get that thing. And that is not said in a shady way because my BMI is high enough too. But the fact that like everybody on Twitter was like, oh, I can get I'm like, I have I almost said preconceived notion. I am like very tired. Pre-existing condition. And she was acting like she didn't have it. Like we can't all see her on The View. Like,
oh my!
I'm sorry. That is petty. I say this as someone who probably has the same BMI as Meghan McCain. Just like throwing that out there. I was her for Halloween, and when I look really sour all the time, we look exactly the same. So, like that is. I'm just putting that out there.
Erin, really quickly for the audience, can you please say my father?
My father? Oh no, like part of the reason she triggers me so much is like, in an alternate timeline, I am Meghan McCain. So I just like, she's my cautionary tale. Yeah, her and Kristen Cinema, honestly. I get very triggered by blonde white women with bad political views. Like it's just not good. We need to do better, blonde ladies.
That's wild. Yeah, I honestly like being married to you. I see that 100%. Like, yeah, you could be that person. Like, that's how I always say if I came out of a different, like a wealthy vagina, I would be, I would just be Elon Musk. And that's why, no, I'd be Dave Portnoy. I'd be trashed.
No.
I'd be trashed at like 8 a.m. eating pizza. Going, this is the best pizza on South Beach. I'd be that guy, without a doubt.
Yeah.
So I have like
I feel that.
I have feels. I know I know what you're saying. It's a thing. It's just a thing. Like our experiences truly make us who we are.
Yeah, well, I truly just made a choice going off on second wave feminism for the first half of the show, and then like straight up being mean to Meghan McCain. Yeah, so cool. I cancel myself, y'all. I'm sorry.
Girls rock.
Girls absolutely do not rock.
Like girl magic.
No. Please, I've never said the words "white girl magic." Please, like, that has not been a thing I've ever said. Okay, I really am gonna get canceled. God, Chuck Schumer. Okay, I'm sorry. You still listen to our show.
Yeah, you are listening to WHIV LP New Orleans 102.3. This is Good Morning Comrade. You can get more information goodmorningcomrade.com. We brought this up a little bit earlier in the show, and maybe we can finish off. I have an article about a guy who is known as Brooklyn Dad Defiant. Are you familiar with Brooklyn Dad Defiant? Are y'all?
Unfortunately,
I'm not up on this, and I'm terminally online.
Erin, who's Brooklyn Dad Defiant?
Brooklyn Dad Defiant has been one of those #resist Twitter accounts that just had the most boring or stupid takes, sometimes at the same time, on basically every. Like they were most recently kind of on the news or whatever because after the was it the Golden Globes or was it the Emmys? I don't know. One of the shows. It was Saturday Night Live. I'm like losing my mind. Apparently, Phoebe Bridgers broke. She slammed her guitar on Saturday Night Live in like a rock star peak, a fit of peak,
Okay.
and he just was very, very upset because that guitar could have gone to an underprivileged child.
This is the worst liberal I've ever.
So, so that's what we're working with.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Yeah. He had a lot of like, excuse me, sir, that is not acceptable responses to Trump. Which like, yeah, agreed, but he just managed to make it sound real sanctimonious.
Is he kind of like around like K-Hive like style, or is he like in that circle or anything, or is that like a universe of weird?
I would say he's K-Hive adjacent in that he was very like solid about like he tweeted a lot about that the people who didn't like Neera Tanden just couldn't deal with a strong woman of color. Like that's like his lane. Is just like it's
Perfect. Just you gotta love it.
Takes that are
Just
they're either
milquetoast
or extreme slay queen energy. Extreme sorry for being a man energy. Yeah.
Well, anyway, he is embroiled. So he's very, very cringe. And
extremely
also
cringe.
He's very, very paid by the Democratic Party, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Two things go hand in hand. Cringe and Democratic.
So here's an article it's written by Lydia Wang, and it's called "The Controversy Behind Brooklyn Dad Defiant is Weirder Than You Think." With nearly 900,000 followers, Majin Padalan, I'm sure I said that incorrectly, known as MM Paladin, Brooklyn Dad Defiant, or just Brooklyn Dad, is one of Twitter's most vocal supporters of Joe Biden. It comes with some confusion, though, as the account prides itself on being a whistleblower and steadfast liberal. But during the past election cycle, Padalan received backlash from leftists for, among other things, urging Bernie Sanders to drop out of the presidential race, discrediting Tara Reade's allegations of sexual assault. Now he's facing renewed backlash amid revelations that he accepted tens of thousands in donations from a Democratic PAC.
Yeah, which sounds about right. Also, fun fact, he doesn't even live in Brooklyn. He lives in Jersey, which is like truly...
He just sounds like a sentient bot farm. Like,
yeah, and he wrote one of those children's books, like The Littlest President, which is, the cover is
Trump got him.
Yeah, picture
Orange
of Trump as a
Man
baby.
Yeah, just it's like, okay, if you could, I mean, obviously there was a lot to criticize in the Trump administration, but if you could just pick the dumbest, most like idpol, most milquetoast thing to criticize about the Trump administration, like the Brooklyn Dad Defiant was all over it.
Yeah.
He was like, like you're gonna bomb a bunch of hospitals in Syria. That's cool.
That's
But
dope.
you're gonna be mean to our queen Kamala Harris. Like this cannot stand.
On Tuesday, several tweets began circulating with evidence that Really American, a pro-Biden PAC, I love that it's called Really American, incredible. It paid Brooklyn Dad nearly $60,000 in 2020. In his bio, it says that he works for the PAC as a, quote, senior advisor. But many users began arguing that major Democratic donors are paying him to espouse certain opinions and theories with his large following. Incredible. There are also the inevitable jokes about Brooklyn Dad getting paid to tweet comments on the Biden sex life and strange critiques of Phoebe Bridges' recent SNL performance, which you alluded to. He was also mocked for likening Dr. Jill Biden to a mommy. What? Did you?
Oh, yikes!
You're
I
so
forgot
lucky
about
on the
that.
Thursday show.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, he also, there was a tweet where he made fun of the Trumps for being in different bedrooms and implied that, you know, the Bidens, because they were going to be sharing a bedroom at the White House, that you know, I just, it's like, it's upsetting for me to even go further, but it just like it and he was also, I think, a big proponent of like Cuomo-sexuals. So
Oh no!
just like true cringe.
Oh,
It's like the worst.
Since Biden took office, Pat Lynn has continuously tweeted about out his support for the new administration and defended the president from criticism surrounding the rollout of stimulus checks, the fact that he hasn't yet held a solo press conference, and more. Some don't think this is at all controversial news. Public figures and influencers are often paid to share certain content on social media, and Brooklyn Dad supporters argue that his job with Really American is no different. Quote, Am I the only one who doesn't give a S about Brooklyn Dad and all the others on both sides of the fence get paid for their opinions? One user wrote. Isn't that the goal of all influencers? I don't know, man. When you're a paid shill on like when you're paid to tweet, first off, how do you get paid $60,000 a year to tweet? I want that gig. Like, seriously.
I just want to throw out there that I have a master's degree and am licensed by the state of Louisiana to be able to diagnose and treat serious mental illness, and I do not make $60,000 a year. So I just want to put that out there.
Why don't you tweet more?
Because it's, I mean, mental health wise, it's not great for me.
Yeah.
And I don't have as good takes as Brooklyn Dad. So,
However, influencers typically disclose when they're getting paid to promote a product or a service. According to his website, Padlin's account was born of a, quote, passion for sharing his thoughts and knowledge and for truth talking whilst rebuking naysayers about the U.S. political climate and its key and corrupt figures. No matter what exactly Brooklyn Dad is being paid to do, critics argue that his lack of transparency calls this aim into question. Antifa says Brooklyn Dad is a show, virtue signals to petty bourgeois wine moms in the suburbs. The Democratic Party invests almost all their energy into virtue signaling to the petty bourgeois in the suburbs. Yeah, I mean, that's 100% true. Like that, they do that instead of politics. You know what I mean? Instead of like actually supporting and campaigns and missions that are popular. Hello, Johnny. The controversy grimaced implicate. Oh, go ahead, Erin.
Oh, I was gonna say Johnny is like really not here for Brooklyn Dad Defiant.
No,
so
a little bit. He heard the name and just went off.
Yeah, he doesn't love a paid Democratic shill.
Who does? The controversy's grimmest implication, of course, relates to Brooklyn Dad's most questionable tweets. his criticisms of Reed and his since deleted suggestions that Governor Andrew Cuomo, who has been accused of sexual harassment, might be the victim of a smear campaign. So just to complete the circle, he's also a Cuomo defender, also a conspiracy theorist Cuomo defender.
Which is truly the worst to be. Like, can you imagine? Because like I love a good conspiracy theory. My favorite conspiracy theory at the moment is that Fidel Castro is actually Justin Trudeau's real dad.
Whoa,
that's my favorite thing.
Is this like a Q thing?
It's a good one.
No,
you ever heard this?
This is a thing that I actually believe. So
you believe it? Oh, okay.
I am like on board with this conspiracy theory. But what I'm saying is like we should be a little bit more creative with our conspiracy theories. Like that one's fun. Like people had to dig like baby pictures out. Like this like Cuomo conspiracy theory is like not fun and also boring.
Yeah.
Like I just whatever. Get creative.
We need better conspiracy theories, is what you're trying to say. And I agree.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Well, we're winding down in time, but I guess maybe just what are your sort of final thoughts on all of this kind of Brooklyn dad / Cuomo sort of thing? Robert?
Of course, like it's funny that every time it seems like the K-Hive called every Bernie person a Russian agent, a Russian shill, a shill for that we're actually secret agents of the Republican Party. Mm-hmm. But little did they know, or maybe they knew more, that the calls were coming inside the house. I mean, Neera Tanden ran a bot farm. You've got this guy. There was bot farms to the Hillary campaign. It's like they have to. They know they're not popular, so they have to. They're no different than Republicans. Like they have to make fake populism. Mm-hmm. It's a thing. Erin.
Yeah, I guess basically the moral of the story has been that the Democratic Party disproves meritocracy every chance they get.
Every single day, every step of the way.
Deeply upsetting. Because, like, Lord knows, I'm never going to be a Republican. And I'm always going to vote for harm reduction.
Yeah, here we are. They rely on the fact that the Republicans are literal demons, so they can be as terrible as they want to be.
It's true. And I say this as somebody who started the Young Democrats at my high school. And I'm not proud of this.
You're part of the problem.
I am literally part of the problem. I am an annoying white woman. Like I've been part of the problem, y'all. For sure. Like actively trying to atone.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. You can listen to Good Morning Comrade every Tuesday on WHIV LP New Orleans. We also are going 5 days a week, hard charging on YouTube, youtube.com/Good Morning no, not /Good Morning Comrade. Just search Good Morning Comrade. We have to secure that URL. But yeah, Good Morning Comrade on YouTube. From 8 a.m. Central Time till 9. I'm usually kind of holding it down, doing some early morning news with my coffee. And yeah, Robert's been holding it down on Twitch. What you playing lately, Robert? I'm
back into Path of Exile because I just need I need more video games that are just like sadistic and like actively make me, are working against me. I don't really have fun. I just want to like punish myself. So hardcore Path of Exile right now until the Diablo 2 remaster comes out. That's what I'm doing.
Cool.
Hardcore. Die once, game over.
All right. Well, I will see you tomorrow morning on the morning show. Thanks for listening, everybody. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that was a fun one.
Good.
Sorry, y'all. I'm like tired and fired up.
It's all good. Well, I'm going to just shut us down on Twitch.
Yeah, please.